Okay, let's get started. Thanks to everyone for coming along to the first of our EPD Australasia 2021 webinar series. This is the first of 5 webinars that we're hoping to host in 2021, so keep a lookout for ones coming up in the next couple of months. So last year, 2020, we undertook an EPD owner survey and we asked some questions about the value you saw in your EPDs and what you were using them for. And one of the things that came out very strongly was that people were using EPDs to support their environmental marketing strategies. So that's one of the reasons why I've chosen this topic today as the first one for our webinar series. So first up, I'd like to introduce you to Rochelle Lake. She's the head of marketing, business to business at Asaleo Care. Asaleo Care was one of the first companies in Australia to register an EPD with EPD Australasia back in 2015. And Asaleo Care now has 3 EPDs registered with the program. After Rochelle, we've got Evan Smith, who will talk from Holcim Australia. He's the National Sustainability Lead. And I will introduce him further when we get to that stage. So I'm going to hand over now to Rochelle.
Thanks, Kelly. Okay, I'll just start sharing my presentation. Okay, can you just confirm that that's working, Kelly?
That's great.
Excellent, excellent.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Okay, well, nice to be on the call and meet everyone today. I didn't actually realise what you were saying there, that we were one of the first. So that's yeah, exciting to hear that. But just sort of just very quickly just start off by telling you who Asaleo Care is. So we're really a brand leader in the personal care and hygiene space, and we have products that span across retail as well as business to business. And as Kelly said, my role is the head of marketing for business to business. So in business to business, we're selling professional hygiene products, so mainly bathroom related things, toilet paper, hand towels. We also do napkins and wipers as well. And then we have consumer brands, which hopefully most people recognise from their supermarket, be it in New Zealand with our consumer tissue of Purex and Sorbent and Handy. And then we have brands of Tenor, Libra, and also now Tom Organic, which are across both Australia and New Zealand. So we are a brand leader, and we're also a local manufacturer. So we employ over 700 people across Australia, New Zealand and the Pacific Islands, and we manufacture in New Zealand as well as the Pacific and Australia. And we make in Australia our continence care products and our period care products, and we're actually the only local manufacturer of those products in the region in entirety. So that's just a little bit about who we are to give a bit of context. So everything I'm going to talk to you about today relates back to our Talk brand, which is our business to business brand in the washroom space. And this is just sort of showing you the journey that we've been on in relation to our EPDs. So we first published our EPDs back in 2016, and we were the first in our industry and still remain the only company in our industry in this part of the world to have our life cycle data published. And we started off with 8 products. And when we first did that, our first EPD, we found out that we had actually quite a high renewable energy content in our products. Which until you do this sort of thing, you don't really know. So that was a key takeout for us and something we're able to communicate to our customers. And when you're on the EPD journey, you have to, you know, if things don't substantially change in your products, you have to do an update every 3 years. So we did that update back in 2019, and we extended the number of products that we included. And we chose with that update to also have a look at the end of life around our hand towels, and I'll talk a bit more specifically around that, but we're actually able to quantify that if you compost hand towels rather than going to landfill, it actually reduces carbon emissions by 50%, which was really significant. We also made a manufacturing change at our factory in New Zealand last year. So we had to update our life cycle data on that because of that, and we saw only a 2% reduction in our carbon footprint. So we were hoping for more, to have something really exciting to talk to customers about. But again, until you really do it and know what's going on, you don't know what you're going to find out. So it was still a worthwhile exercise for us to understand that a change like that, which was significant from our manufacturing point of view, didn't actually have a big impact from an environmental point of view. Then, of course, we'll have to do our regular update in 2023. And this time we've already identified that we'd like to separate out the data on our packaging of our products as well. So yeah, already thinking of the next stage and what we want to do next. So for us, we sort of see 4 main areas that we use our EPDs for. The first is around transparency. So for us, it's really the ultimate in terms of selling and marketing your products, that you can provide that complete transparency of the full life cycle impact. And what's of interest to our customers is being able to quantify their scope 3 carbon emissions. So I guess we're a product that companies buy to use in their businesses. So we'd sort of fit into their scope 3 carbon emissions to understand that. And because we've got this high renewable energy, we're also able to quantify for them how much renewable energy is embedded in the products that they use of ours. So I'll give you an example about that. And then the second C, I see this sort of came through in your survey there, Kelly, that we have absolutely used the data for identifying hotspots for improvement. And when we did our first round of life cycle analysis, we found that for tissue products at end of life is where really all of the majority of the carbon emissions come. So that's why we looked into handheld composting, and I'll talk about that. We've also been using it for decision making. So we assessed a different pulp supply and made a decision around that. We've been using it currently to look at our packaging and what we should do in relation to changing our packaging. And I'll provide an example of what we did around our fibre sourcing and how we use the data for that. And also, you know, having your life cycle information enables you to set goals around what you would like to achieve and really quantify any improvements that you make and can have claims for your customers. And so far, we're really looking to do that mainly around carbon footprint reduction, because we find that most customers, the most common environmental goal that our customers have is around climate impact. Okay, so I'm just going to share those 3 examples with you on how we've been using the EPD information from a marketing point of view. So as I said, when we first did our life cycle analysis, we uncovered that we had a lot of renewable energy in our products. And that really comes from 2 things, that we make a majority of our tissue products in New Zealand, and we have a really unique situation making our tissue paper over there, where we actually use geothermal steam. So our mill is in New Zealand, is in Carra, which is in a geothermal region, and we're the only paper maker anywhere in the world that's actually able to use that geothermal steam from the ground in the paper making process. Because paper making is a very, very energy intensive operation. So that's really unique to us. And then with the small amount of electricity that we do use, because we make in New Zealand, there's obviously a really high mix of renewables in the New Zealand energy grid. So those 2 things together, when we look across the whole life cycle, means that we've got really high renewable energy content, which has been a really great story to tell our customers. So we have definitely been using that information. So then the second thing I wanted to share with you was around handheld composting. So this is the analysis of the carbon emissions throughout the life cycle of one of our major handheld products. And it's really, really interesting data. So actually at the point of delivery to the customer, so this is just looking at all of the different stages throughout the product life cycle, when we actually deliver to customers, we're actually climate positive. And that's due to the fact that handhelds start their life as a tree, which obviously capture and store carbon. So that's, you know, capturing carbon rather than releasing it. And then we introduce carbon emissions throughout the product manufacturing and distribution process, but it's still positive at that point of delivery. But what we could see when we had this information is where all of the carbon emissions really come from the product going to landfill. So the biggest impact that we felt we could make was to do something about end of life. So that's when we did the analysis to understand what would happen if we could compost those handhelds, which we know is possible, rather than them going to landfill, which they do a majority of the time today. So we were able to quantify that impact, and it actually showed that the carbon emissions across the life cycle would reduce by 50%, which is absolutely massive and significant. So that's a big program that we're undertaking to try to encourage our customers to compost their handhelds rather than put them into landfill. And that's something that's been really positively received by customers, that we can help them to make that impact and improvement. Then the third example I wanted to show you was around how we've used the life cycle analysis to look at the raw materials going into our products. So the example here was around peatland free fibre sourcing. So as I said, our products really start as a tree, which is what we call fibre, which goes into making pulp, which then goes into the end product. And we had become aware that pulp, which was grown in Southeast Asia on drained tropical peatlands, was contributing to deforestation. So it's the same issue in palm oil, same sort of practices have been going on affecting the palm oil industry as well as the paper and the tissue industry. So those kind of practices of cutting down those forests has been leading to deforestation and also contributing to really significant forest fires, which almost happen on an annual basis there in Southeast Asia. So we knew that issue was going on, and we thought, well, let's have a look at the life cycle impact of that for one of our most common products. So when we looked at that, we found that if we were to replace the existing fibre that we were using with a fibre from a drained tropical peatland, that would increase the carbon emissions of the product across the full life cycle by between 3 to 6 times. So based on that analysis, we updated our fibre sourcing policy to say that we will not source any fibre from that those sources. So, and that's an important part of our marketing because we know that we have competitors that do source product from those types of plantations. So yeah, that's just another example of how we've used it and how we market our products as being tropical peatland free. So that was 3 specific examples, and I just wanted to finish up by showing you that for Talk, we have a customer communications program called the Talk Better World program, which enables our customers to tell the positive environmental story about the Talk products that they use. And this is just examples. We've got a number of elements to that program, but part of it, we can provide different posters that can go up in people's bathrooms, near the sinks or on the back of the toilet door or on the door going into the bathroom, which just talk about some of those positive environmental messages, which quite a few of those, the facts and information behind it, have come obviously from our EPDs. So I think that's my 10 minutes up, what I wanted to share, and happy to take any questions at the end.
Great, many thanks, Rochelle. Obviously some excellent improvements to your products have been made, and through your EPDs you've been able to demonstrate that with the verified data, so that's excellent. Thank you. Next up we have Evan Smith, as I said, from Holcim Australia. He's the National Sustainability Lead. Holcim Australia have a number of EPDs. The first one was published in 2017, but what's interesting now, I think, is that Holcim Australia is the first company in our region to obtain what's called a process certification, which means that the company can produce and also verify their own EPDs. So this makes it a much faster and more efficient process for getting out multiple EPDs. So interested to hear more about that. Thanks. Evan, over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, and thanks for the presentation, Rochelle, and yeah, perfect timing. I'll see how I go as well for this. So yeah, thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to be here today. For you that may not know me, I'm Holcim National Sustainability Lead. I've been working on this project and the EPDs delivering for Holcim Ready Mix Concrete and Tumes and some of our other products. For those of you that don't know Holcim, in Australia and New Zealand, we're cement in New Zealand and aggregates ready-mix concrete and precast concrete in Australia. And globally, we're also one of the leading construction materials manufacturing companies in the world, and we operate in over 70 countries. I'm very excited to say in 2020, we rapidly accelerated our action on climate, launching a net zero climate pledge validated by Science-Based Targets initiative. And globally, we also want to generate 1/3 of our revenue from sustainably enhanced products. So in Australia, as Kelly mentioned before, so our Holcim sustainability journey with a registration of the Virodex ready-mix concrete EPD in 2019. So that was a first for Australia for ready-mix concrete. And that was really, we saw as like a missing gap as for major construction materials in Australia. Just last year, we also used the EPD as well to be able to provide Australia's first carbon neutral ready-mix concrete as well. So it's very exciting, and also the first company to actually use the EPD through Climate Active's EPD streamlined pathway as well. And last year, also, exciting news as well. We also provided carbon neutral precast concrete to Inland Rail facility, and also carbon neutral ready-mix concrete as well today. So hopefully I can kind of build on Rochelle's presentation today, and also kind of share with you guys the reflection on our EPD journey, and also the transition from transparency to impact, and what's next for customers. And today's presentation is not about numbers. I guess it's about sharing our perspective and insights on our journey as well. So I guess a lot of you will know what an EPD is as well, but I guess I really see the benefits, particularly in terms of marketing strategies. The EPDs are third-party verified, and they're done in accordance with international standards as well, and they're all publicly available as well. And EPDs provide transparency and confidence due to that as well, and I think really helps unlock that life cycle thinking and allow our customers to make informed decisions based on the performance of our products as well. And also, as Rochelle talked about as well, it really provides like a lens for our company and our customers to kind of understand our impacts and really look inwards as well. However, there are some challenges, I'd say, with EPDs as well that we've learned along our journey as well. EPDs are a fairly kind of technical document for some people, quite hard to kind of potentially understand as well. Like some of the numbers are also in scientific expression as well. So as part of that, we've been doing a lot of work, I guess, with our customers and also our staff as well, providing training and support so they can use an EPD and also understand it as well. We've done a number of webinars as well, kind of explaining the different impact categories, like use of secondary materials or fresh water as well, or how to kind of understand and read an EPD. I think that's quite key as part of the journey as well. I think the uptake and use of EPDs, I guess, on a sector-wide or industry-wide perspective, is fairly low, and I think we're excited that we're the first ready-mix concrete, and also had the opportunity to kind of set up the approach that we thought kind of best as well was our EPDs. Customers are able to look at the state that they buy their ready-mix concrete in as well, look at the strength that they had, and then look up the type that they have to kind of have a look at the performance of that as well. And I think that's really kind of others are now following that approach as well. But we need to see a lot more as well. So I guess customers got for any product that they purchase in Australia has that certified third-party verified information. Another insight that we've had as well, that EPDs provide information on a wide range of products as well, and particularly for ready-mix concrete. There's variable impacts for different designs that we develop for different projects as well. So typically EPDs are not project specific data. So as part of that, we've now been able to customize environmental data for projects and provide third-party EPD data, as Kelly mentioned as well. So launching our new process EPD in Australian first. So users that may not know about that. So it's basically the certification of Holcim's entire process of developing an EPD and calculating, gathering the data, third-party verified by a process EPD certifier as well. So very exciting. We just got the certification for that a couple of weeks ago as well. So I guess realistically, that means that we can now provide an EPD on demand for any mix that we generate for any project at any phase as well. So you can also kind of help customers early up in the material selection as well. And yeah, just to reflect a bit more about EPDs, I guess, in the journey and how you use them, you know, for your approach as well. But I think the journey from transparency to the impact, like the first stage is the EPD. I think it's quite useful and to learn about the impacts of your products and actually have that kind of lens to look at your different material impacts, as Rochelle mentioned as well. I think the next stage is, you know, helping customers to select lower carbon products and really pull those levers for those designs well to then move into the impact of building a world that's greener and smarter for all as well. As I mentioned before, so I think the key thing is being able to work with a customer early in the design phase to really look at reducing, say, the CO2 emissions as much as possible for their actual application as well. And I think really, you know, looking at closing, you know, moving from words to actual actions as well. And part of our reflections, I guess, as well, is sort of trying to make it easy for a customer to choose more sustainable options as well. That moving from like EPDs and quite technical kind of document to how does a customer easily kind of know that they're using a product that's low impacts as well. So just this year, we're also going to be launching EcoPack, so Holcim's new low carbon concrete range as well. And that's really to help our customers make it easier to select low carbon products as well. So with the EcoPack range, it'll be a minimum of 30% CO2 reduction, up to 60% reduction in CO2 emissions as well. And then also backed with all the products be covered by an EPD as well. So you've got that additional layer of transparency, all publicly available as well. And, you know, it's third party verified as well. So really think that will kind of help our customers. So what next? I guess really like a call to arms for everyone. So I guess you know, responding to climate change with determination and urgency, and you know, call, you know, to really work with our customers and the industry to help provide lower carbon concrete and solutions as well. So that's it for me today. Hopefully I've left a bit of time for questions at the end as well.
That's perfect. Thanks, Evan. Perfect timing, and thanks for your presentation. I'll just get Rochelle back up for you. So we have a question and answer function on the webinar if you want to add anything in there, or you can place your questions in the chat. We have about 6 minutes. I thought I would kick off just by asking, because both of you have had EPDs for a number of years now, and I'm really interested to hear, have you noticed that customers are asking for information differently over that time, or how has requests for EPD or information on your life cycle assessment changed in the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. I can kind of kick that off. Yeah, seeing it heavily specified through tenders at the moment as well. There's a lot of sustainable infrastructure projects, green building projects as well, and a lot of them kind of ask, do you have an EPD for your product as well? So and now we're also kind of seeing it moving into the next phase as well, working with customers that actually specify the CO2 emissions or the reductions that they want as well. So we can actually kind of work with them now, which is really exciting, I guess, kind of moving to actual real verified numbers.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it?
So I have to say, from my point of view, because we're sort of consumer products, so we're not starting to see yet people requesting it. But what we are starting to see is our customers having goals around you know, carbon emissions and climate impact and things like that. So we will be starting to proactively provide them the carbon impact data for their Scope 3 reporting.
Great. We've got a question from Stephen Mitchell to Evan. Steve would like to know, could you say that having EPDs has helped to increase sales at all? Have you seen a response from customer sales?
Yeah, I think, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, it's, I think it's been like helpful, like kind of, I guess part of our proposal is like to truly work and understand like our customers' requirements. And I guess EPDs came about it. We had customers asking about the sustainability initiatives and the performance of our product. So I was part of the proposal putting it forward together. And I think we're really like ahead of that as well, and really the right place at the right time, and kind of being able to provide the information to customers. I guess they're like, oh, thank God we've been waiting for this for so long. And it's been great.
Great, excellent. And a question for Rochelle. Joanne Duncan would like to know, given that you see such better performance with the composting of hand towels, how do you ensure that they are composted, or do you have ways to encourage that?
Yeah, so we're really just encouraging customers around that, and I guess we're more trying to facilitate how customers can compost them. And there's really two paths to that. There's working with your waste provider to see if they can go off to an industrial composting facility, or there's on-site worm bins. So I guess we're just trying to provide information to customers about how they can do it, and we have set it up on both of those options up on our own site, so that we're walking the talk, and we can even show customers how we do it to create an example for what they can do.
Great. Thank you. I've just had another question come through. I'm not sure who this is for, but I'll read it out to you, and you can see who you think it's appropriate to answer. So it says, for measuring EPD of a product, how can I get the carbon factors data for a list of elements in case you aren't using any toolkit and conducting the calculations manually in Excel?
Yeah, I can kind of go
I'll
for
leave that to you, Evan.
Yeah.
I can reread that if needed.
I can talk to that. Well, I guess that's a great thing about an EPD. Like the methodology and the approach is all publicly available, and I guess so EPDs are directly kind of comparable. So for an EPD, you got to collect data from within your company's own operations and have that all included as well. And then there's like really a hierarchy of, if you're purchasing materials, of like the data that you then use and look to source as well. So yeah, a lot of information on that. I guess, and that's the benefit of it. Like everyone's using the same methodology and processes, and it's third party verified. So you've got that confidence of looking at that number at the end.
Great.
So that helps, yeah.
Hopefully that helps. Thanks, Evan. I'm going to do two more questions, one from myself and another one from Steve Mitchell. So Steve has asked Rochelle, are other environmental impacts other than carbon of interest to Asaleo Care and all your customers?
No, I think the others, not so much. I'm not saying they don't have an environmental impact, but we haven't sort of seen too much interest from customers around the other ones. It's mainly around the carbon emissions.
And what about internally in Asaleo Care yourselves? Is there other aspects you're looking at, or is carbon still the key focus for you?
I'd say carbon is the key focus for us. Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. Okay, and I've got one final question for Evan. I was interested, now that you have your process certification and your ability to tailor your EPDs for customers or for very specific products, is that going to change the way that you market your EPDs?
Yeah, I guess it's really part of the total package, I guess, for our customers due to the nature of concrete and the bespokeness of it. I guess it's really kind of being able to provide that data and the specific data for our customers. So I guess it's very much part of our overall strategy of helping our customers specify lower carbon products and to try and make it easy as well. So now we've got that ability when we develop a specific mix for a project that we can now give them the data and then also offer them carbon neutral option as well, and have that additional layer of the EPD providing that number then for the climate active certification.
Great. Great. Okay, well, thank you both very much for your time. As I say, two companies that have had EPDs for a few years now, really leading the way. So, next slide. Sorry, excuse me. Just to wrap up, We would love to hear from anyone with thoughts about what our future webinar series topics could be. We are open to suggestions at this stage. My contact details are up there now. There you go. And there'll be a recording of this webinar available shortly through a link on our website, and the presentations will be sent to attendees. So thank you all very much for coming, and thanks again to Evan and Rochelle for your presentations and your time.
Thanks for the opportunity. Have a good day, everyone.